Here today with Coach Wade Miller of the Uvalde Coyotes. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm good. I'm very good. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Now this is the spring, and you're a football coach, so that means you're pretty much sitting around doing nothing. Well, not so much. Busiest time of year for you guys. Baseball, softball, track, golf. School year's wrapping up. I'm sure I left out several sports that are in season or just wrapping up. But you're getting a chance to see your kids get out there and compete. You're getting a chance to see them in the weight room. So how's it going so far in the spring?
We've had a great off season, and I tell people all the time that the spring is the busiest part of my year. They think it's football, but pretty much people leave me alone during football season. It's actually, with all the spring sports going on, it's been crazy. But yeah, we've had a great off season. We're actually going to start our first game for our 7-on-7 league tonight. I've got a bunch of kids out for that. Our weight gains have been just insane over the last couple of years, and this year especially. So we're excited. We were a young team last year. We're going to have a bunch of seniors this year, and we feel like these guys have made gains to where they can be a lot more competitive.
All right. So tell me a little bit about your team in terms of who's graduating, that you'll need to find someone to fill those roles and who might fill those roles, and who you have coming back and what roles they're going to play.
Basically, we're losing our three linebackers and we're losing our three starting receivers. Those are the guys that we're losing. Everybody else is pretty much back. I lost a center on offense, my two wideouts in a slot. But I have good guys coming in for that. I had a sophomore on varsity last year that was a backup center. I think he'll fit in real good. He's a big kid. He's gotten a lot stronger. Name is Jackson Parker. And then I have some young receivers that I think are going to be phenomenal. I have one that's going to be a sophomore, one of the few freshmen at a 4A school I've had on varsity last year. His name's Diego Granados, and I mean the guy can go and he can catch everything, and he's going to be a really good one. Defensively, we lost, we run a 4-2-5. We lost the two inside guys, and then we lost what we call our Sam, our fifth slash run support linebacker slash safety. But we had a kid that played defensive end, and he's dropped some weight. Actually, he's put on a lot of muscle, gotten a lot faster, and he was a linebacker as a younger kid, Caden Smith. And then we've got young kids that are going to fill in at those linebacker spots. So pretty much other than that, we've got the whole group back. This is as good a group. This senior group I've got is as good a group as I've had anywhere.
Now, in any community in Texas, the school plays a huge role in that community, especially there in Uvalde with the tragedy that happened just about a year ago. Just kind of talk about the school and its involvement in community spirit and helping to heal what happened there.
When it first happened, we noticed that our kids came up here and they just wanted to be normal kids. They didn't want to talk about it. They just wanted to be normal. And as the years gone on, I was telling somebody the other day, last summer was kind of like the darkest time maybe any town can ever have. And you were worried, you felt bad smiling in the grocery store. I mean, you didn't know how to act. And then you go in August, volleyball starts before football, and then you got football games, and you see people cheering their kids on, and you see people smiling when we win games and such not. And I think it helped. I mean, I think it helped us realize that, eventually after bad things like that happen, you kind of got to come together and rebuild. And to me, like you said, I've worked everywhere. I've worked everywhere from 1A to 6A. And in a small Texas town, a lot of these towns, the school is the number one employer. The school is what we have to do out here, being so far from anywhere else. And it's been a big deal. It's been a big help in getting this community back together, and it has. It's gotten a lot better.
If you don't mind, kind of walk us through your district, who the teams you're competing against are, and what you expect to see from them in the fall.
Well, first of all, we've got Bernie. They're the three-time district champ. They went to the state finals last year. They lost some, but they've got a ton coming back. Those are the guys that everybody in our district is looking up to. And then Somerset, who's had some playoff runs the last couple of years, and Fredericksburg. We played both those guys real close the first half last year. And then we just kind of felt like with our youth and inexperience and lack of strength that, we kind of got worn down in the second half. And then we have the two Edgewood schools, Kennedy and Memorial. We held on with a goal line stand to beat Kennedy and get in last year. And then Memorial struggled throwing the ball, and we were able to load up the box, and we had a pretty good game against those guys. But, it's a competitive district. I said going into it last year, when you've got Bernie, Fredericksburg, and Somerset, who make deep playoff runs, and Kennedy, who the year before had gone 7-4 and had one of their best seasons in a long time. And Memorial had beaten Uvalde the previous time they had played them several years ago. It's tough, and we have a good schedule. We have a good home schedule this year, so we're excited about it. It's going to be a tough district, but for us to get to the point, they haven't won a playoff game here since 2001, and that's our number one goal, is get in and get that win and break that streak. So we're gonna have to play well, but we feel like we're capable this year.
Yeah, you mentioned you coached at small schools all the way up to big schools. You've been around coaching a couple of years.
Yeah, 29 next year. So
29. So from the perspective that you have, having accumulated that experience, what would you say the number one challenge facing Texas high school athletics right now is?
Right now, as it's changed so much from when I first started, it's just, back in the day, a kid would do whatever you tell them. Now they can Google it on their cell phone and tell me that I'm wrong and things like that. You have to me, as a coach now, you have to not only teach them, but kind of explain to them why. And I've, kind of grown with that. I'm still pretty old school, but I've kind of grown with that. And, just getting kids to understand that, you can't just go out there and do that without putting in the work beforehand. That has changed a lot since I started. But, here, being a small community and being kind of out in the middle of nowhere by ourselves, we have good, hardworking kids here. And that's one of the reasons I like it here so much. It reminds me a lot of when I began coaching.
All right, so let's go from real big picture down to real little picture. Try and learn a little bit about Wade Miller. What would you say your number one guilty pleasure is?
I am addicted to bay fishing, and that's one of the reasons I lived in Corpus so long. If I have any free time and my wife will let me, I will be on the water fishing, catching trout and redfish anytime I get a chance.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you very much for your time today. Best of luck as you wrap up the school year and move into the 23 season.
Thank you so much for having us. We're excited. We really are. Thank you.
LoneStarGridiron.com. Access the complete history of Texas high school football, over 100 years of information, win-loss records, coaching histories, individual stats, records, and more. Lone Star Gridiron, the authority on Texas high school football.